Hello and welcome to this virology course. This is the first lesson. I'm talking about the general features of viruses. Viruses, as well as the other microorganisms such as bacteria, are not seen with our own eyes. We need to use some tools called microscopes. There are very different kinds of microscopes. There is the optical microscope, which we can use to see bacteria, to see the cells. And there is also another kind of microscope, which is called electronical microscope. This is the case. If we want to observe viruses, we have to use the electronical microscope. Viruses are really small microorganisms. Their dimensions go from 30 to 300 nanometers. Viruses are responsible for very different kinds of infections. I'm sure you know the most part of them, like cough, like cold, like herpes. There are 3 different kinds of theories about their origins. The third theory is the progressive one, which is about the fact that viruses may have origined from intracellular parasites. The second theory is the regressive theory, which is about the fact that viruses may have origined from nucleic acids which got the ability to replicate themselves automatically. The third theory is the coevolutive theory, which is about the fact that viruses origined independently from the cell. So they origined in a parallel way with the cells, but in an independent way. If you asked me, how is a virus made of? I would say that it's made of only a few kinds of macromolecules. So its structure is quite simple. In fact, I may say that the virus is a macromolecular structure. The macromolecules I'm talking about are essentially lipids, phospholipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. So I'm going to tell you in a specific way what I'm talking about. The structure of a virus is made of nucleic acids, but only one kind and only one molecule of nucleic acids. So it can have a DNA or RNA. These nucleic acids is inside a proteic structure, which is called capsid. The viruses which have this kind of structures are called naked viruses, but there are some other kinds of viruses which have another structure externally. This external structure is called pericapsid or tegument, and it is separated from the capsid by a protein matrix. The pericapsid is really important because it's used by the virus to recognize the cells, and it's also used by our microorganism or the host organism in general to recognize the virus and to kill it. The capsid is made of only one kind of protein, so the capsid is coded only by one gene. These protein monomers are synthesized in a redundant way. This has a specific defensive meaning because whenever a lesion may occur in the capsid, the virus can survive because, fortunately, it has a lot of protein monomers. The capsid can have different geometrical structures. Some capsid are spheric, others are cubic, but the most part of them are icosahedric. So the most part of viruses have an icosahedrical structure. Have you ever seen a football? Okay, the icosahedric is essentially like a football. The icosahedrical structure is characterized by having 32 faces, specifically 12 pentagons and 20 hexagons, 90 junctions and 60 corners. I want to conclude this lesson by talking about the terminology, which is something always really important in science. We may gather the viruses in many different groups. To make it easy, I will tell you only the most important ones. One of the biggest group we may use to gather the viruses is the family. When you're talking about the family, you have to use a prefix, which is viride, which has a Latin origin, as a lot of words in science. Under the family, you find the subfamily, and when you're talking about the subfamily, you have to use the prefix virine. Under the subfamily, you find the order, and under the order, you find the type, the subtype, and the viron. So, we always say virus when we want to talk about these microorganisms, but we do it in an incorrect way, because when you want to refer to a specific particle, to a specific virus particle, you don't have to use the term virus, but you should use the term viron. When you say virus, you are referring to a genus, which includes many different kinds of viruses. Another important thing you need to know is that even if we gather viruses in the same group, it doesn't mean that they are the same, they have the same structures, because the viruses have an enormous capacity of mutation. So even if two viruses origin from the same viron mother particle, they will never have the same characteristics. Of course, they would have a great percentage of common features, but they will never be exactly the same. Because the virus needs to defend itself from the host organism. And one of the things it uses to do it is the mutation. In this way, the organism cannot recognize it. So, this lesson has come to an end. I'll see you in the second lesson. Bye bye.